So we're at Green Ghost in the Fondren part of Jackson, Mississippi, and you work here as a waitress?
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I've worked around Jackson as a bartender for 10 years. I'm from Texas originally. I've worked here twice over the years because the owner is a really awesome guy. But yeah.
Awesome. And I guess first off, you want to just talk about like how the crisis has affected like the restaurant as a whole. I mean, personally, I know like I've bartended and waited tables myself, and if you don't have people coming in the door, then things are tricky. I guess, have you seen business slow down, pick up, anything like that? And I guess, what are the day-to-day operations like?
Okay, so this is like not new. This has been going on the entire time I've worked here. So every restaurant that I've ever worked at always has bottled water like in storage somewhere, or like to-go plates, because at any moment we might have to switch to bottled water if we're under boiled water or we lose water, and that's every restaurant I've worked at.
And it happens frequently enough that
yes,
you just...
yes,
okay.
yeah. And then like there was an ice storm that shut all of our water down like maybe 2 years ago. I didn't have water at home or work for 2 weeks. I bartended 2 days with no running water. Like, we had jugs, and like, I mean, it was just, that's, weird. But yeah, so this happening now, it's like, it's only unusual because of the news, but we've been doing, like, taking precautions,
And so it sounds like, the news no one comes and talks about this sort of thing.
No. We had the local news here on Monday, so, and I'm maybe the local news, but
Gotcha.
yeah, I like, throughout the years, I've never seen like the national attention that we're getting now, so. But the only thing that's different now is we got porta potties and a hand washing station in case it goes completely out. But that only happened that first week. So otherwise we just had pressure issues and you can't use it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned just before we started talking too, I mean, about 2 or 3 weeks now when all of this was started being announced, the governor had like a reaction of being kind of surprised to this. You had something to say about that.
So in my opinion, he got on the news and acted like this was shocking. He lives in Jackson in a mansion. He knows what's going on. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's blinded a little bit by his wealth or whatever, but it's been going on. And like, when you say stuff about him, the governor and Tate Reeves, he's immediately, anybody that's into him, they're going to point the finger at the city officials. It's both of them. Like,
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, we're the poorest state in the United States. Like, also, so, we don't have any water right now. That's the last abortion clinic in Mississippi, and it's shut down. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, what year is it? Where are we? Like,
right. And I mean, you mentioned this has been going on for a while. This morning before coming here, I've just been, folks on Twitter have been pointing out, like, oh, you got to go check out this or check out that. And I was on Mill Street here, and there's literally an open sewer hole, no sewer on it, leaking out, all sorts of stuff. And
that's not even unusual. I don't know if you've noticed the potholes. And that is, some of it is the way that it's Mississippi clay. But also, I think it's just misusing funds. Like, instead of it actually going to, like, fixing our streets or whatever, it's going into the hands of the politicians. Our Tate Reeves sent back a rental assistance that could have helped out a lot of people. He ended unemployment early. He said it was the rental assistance was like an experimental Washington thing, and we don't need it in Mississippi. And then boasts about our low unemployment rate. I mean, you can just drive around and see, like,
yeah.
And then I'm glad you brought up Mill Street. So we used to have a brewery, and it was really good. It was called Lucky Town. And they were in that area off Mill Street, and they were there for about 7 years, and they had to shut down because of water issues. The financial, like, you can't keep up with that.
Right.
Like, especially
right.
a new business.
Yeah, at that scale, I mean, you need a lot of water in that process,
Yeah.
and like, the fact that y'all are able to make it work is amazing. And it's terrible that you have to do that. Again, America 2022, and restaurants just constantly get used to not using their water because the water is bad enough, often enough.
I don't give it to my dogs. I don't give it, like, my roommate works in Ridgeland, which is north of here, in Madison County, but she gets jugs of water from there, and that's what we drink and give the dogs, so, yeah.
That's insane. And I mean, what is it you think about Jackson that like this isn't normal in the rest of the country?
I'm
like,
gonna be real honest with you. It's racism. Like it's they can say whatever they want to say about it, but Jackson's 70 to 80% black, and Mississippi as a whole, I think, is majority white. But they want to be like, oh, you see that little blue spot in this red state where all the black people are at? Yeah, look at how they run a city. That's what they're doing. That's in my opinion. Like, and the city, I think I don't really know what his issue is. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're right. And like, when you look at how funding, go ahead.
Also with the racism thing, it's not always, black or white. It's also the rich against the poor. Like, that's the biggest, like, they want to keep us poor, and,
Yeah, no, that's a big part of it. And when you look at how the funding gets dispersed at the state level, like obviously Jackson's the largest city in the state, but per capita, the money that goes to Jackson doesn't go to Jackson. Jackson will be applying for grants and money for hospitals and schools and parks, and the money, they won't get it approved here, but other more affluent suburbs will.
Did get something for like an entertainment kind of fund, and then they're like, we don't know where that money's at. It's ridiculous. And I also think when you're like poor and struggling and have no water, you have no time to be upset about these things. So, or you have like no energy. So it's just rough. Like, and I'm very fortunate. I can't imagine like what's everyone's going through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is there anything else you want to share? I mean, that folks outside of Jackson need to know about what's going on, because frankly, I've been here for 5 days at this point, and every day it seems to seem like the situation is worse and worse, and I've been getting more and more pissed off every single day that I've been here that no one's doing anything.
I am full of rage. Like, so I'm from Texas originally, like I said. When I moved here, I wanted to go back to a major city. I fell in love with the people. People are really nice, creative here. Like Jim Henson's from Mississippi, for example. It's got a lot of history, a lot of arts going on, but it's not just water that we don't have. There's no access to education. There's schools in the Delta, they just don't have teachers. So it's not just water, it's all resources that we're lacking here, and we need, like, we're the poorest state, so I'm like speechless about it, honestly.
Yeah, you mentioned just now too that you do some political art. You lightly talked about some of the funding for housing and whatnot that the state decided not to keep here and decided to send back, while people really could have used it. But you wanted to guys talk about a little bit about the political art that you've been working on.
So I did one with Brett Favre and Phil Bryant, and like, was it Nixon that made up the welfare queen thing? It's not real, but I put welfare queen around it, and I like just draw weird pictures of Tate Reeves, like, and then the Madison and Mayor is another one I like to do. I don't know if you know a lot about Madison, but they're a very like rich suburb of Jackson, and because of white flight, that's another issue that happened in Jackson. But so like all the rich white people live out there, and the mayor, so like every building in that town has to be made from the same bricks, and like her brother owns the bricking company, so I did like her face and like bricks, and all in all, we're just bricks in a wall. And then she also, like, we were supposed to get medical marijuana like a couple years ago, and she found some loophole to block it. I think it's because she can't figure out how to make money on it, because she makes more money on people going to private prisons, maybe, I don't know. But I did like a dunce hat and put dope over it. But yeah, I do things like that. And
the brick thing
so
blows my mind. That's wild. Brother owns the brick company. All the buildings in the town need to be made out of the bricks.
Yeah, they have to. Like, and have you
drive
through there? It's like,
okay.
And like cell phone towers have to be like hidden, so they're one's a big tree or something like that. But yeah, and it's kind of sad because like there's a lot of intelligent people here. A lot of people come to college here. That's what brought me here. But like more and more, I'm feeling so frustrated that people are gonna leave. Like people you want here, like the artists, everyone. Like, and then the people who can't leave, my heart breaks. Like. And yeah,
that's a theme I'm hearing. I mean, I've talked to a couple of folks, just in general out in a couple different neighborhoods here, as well as at a senior center, of folks being like, I'm trying to leave. For me, I might be able to do it, but I know a lot of people who want to leave and can't do it because they're just barely scraping by. mothers with 6 kids at
Yep.
home, like picking up the whole family and moving them. It just isn't feasible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. Again, this is 2022. In America, you shouldn't have to pick up your family and move because you don't have access to clean drinking water.
Yeah, and like it just makes no sense to me. And like to see the wealth, like the poor, like we're the poorest place, but we have some pretty rich people here, and they're running the show.
Yeah.
And like what?
Yeah.
I'm again speechless about all this.
And I mean, with the rental assistance money and there's other
And the
unemployment. I mean, it seems like some of the things that the governor has said about sending that money back is essentially, I don't want to get folks used to a liberal handout and the government's going to step in and save them.
Yeah, and he acts like poor people are lazy. Being poor, 1979. Being poor is so hard, and it takes so much extra work to like make up for that. And then like the playing field is never truly level. And I just hate the it's again speechless.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.